Hey, so guess what? MAGA voters are in regrets. Big regret. But we don't feel sympathy for them. If they want our sympathy, no. They aren't getting our sympathy. They saw this coming. This is exactly what they voted for. You know, gas prices are high. Groceries are high on prices in supermarkets and shops. The living cost for an average American right now are even higher than they were before Trump stepped into power. So what does that mean? That means they made a wrong decision, and that's why they are regretting right now, but we ain't feeling sorry for them. Let's see them.
I never thought I'd say it, but I'm regretting my vote for Donald Trump. We were promised things that aren't being delivered. He's been president, what, a month now? Where's my handmaid? We were promised handmaids. I don't have a handmaid. All these women who dressed up as handmaids, who swore that they were going to be forced into servitude. Not one for me. Is it Trump? Or is this something Elon is doing as a cost-cutting measure?
I was at the grocery store and I was talking to the lady in front of me in line. The cashier was ringing up her stuff and she was watching her total go up. She goes, "Oh my gosh, this is ridiculous." And I said, "I know, everything is so expensive." And she goes, "It's just ridiculous." And I was like, "Yep." And then she goes, she got real quiet. She goes, "I can't believe they lied." And I was like, "Oh my gosh, who lied? I love this. Who lied?" Did somebody at the grocery store lie? She goes, "Donald Trump and all the Republicans, they lied. They said everything was going to be less expensive, more affordable. Groceries would be cheaper, gas would be cheaper, living expenses for the average American would be cheaper." I was like, she goes, "But they lied. It's not true." I was like, yeah. And I told her, I said, I would have told you before you ever voted that he was lying and that wouldn't ever come true. But you probably wouldn't have listened to me. And she goes, "You're right. I probably wouldn't have." I was like, "What?" And she just goes, I feel awful. I feel awful that I voted for him. I feel like I let myself down. I feel like I let my family down. I feel like I let my kids down. And I was like, hey, I get it. I really do. It's so easy to beat yourself up over choices that you've made, but you got to give yourself some grace. You know better, you do better, and that's all you could do, And she just goes, "Yeah, you're right." And she goes, "I wish there was a lemon law for voting." And I go, "Oh, you know what? I wish there was too, because I guarantee you half the folks that voted for him would have returned that right to the voter dealership. Right on back to the voter dealership." She goes, "You're probably right." Anyway, I just am so frustrated. Because if they just would have done their research, if they would have listened to a voice outside, the little conservative bubble, maybe they would have been like, "Oh, maybe I should look into that." Not openly just "Oh, I'm going to disregard everything I believe and I'm going to go with that." But maybe plant a seed, to look into things for themselves. Use Google. Find some information, outside of whoever was talking to them, through the TV, through the phone, through the news, whatever. They just would have anyway, it's so frustrating. But they're realizing that they made a mistake, which is great. It's just a little too late. But I hope, right, that it's a good learning experience for them and that they take that into their midterm elections, right? And they vote according to what they've actually looked into and pick people who would actually benefit them and their families the most, right? Instead of just voting red or blue. And maybe even into like, you know, the next presidential election, you know. We don't just vote red or blue because that's what we've always done. You know, we vote for somebody who would actually benefit the majority of Americans, right? So they're realizing it's just too late.
MAGA regret is a trend. And just like buyer's remorse, I anticipated that this would happen. There was no way that people willingly made this decision and they were actually fully educated in their decision. They considered all options. They considered all possibilities. They considered the impact that this could potentially have. Or they even glanced at 2025, Project 2025. They didn't. And so some of this was about, and so I get it. Do I feel like the government entity as a whole might not always benefit the American people? Yes, I do think that. Do I feel like sometimes politicians trump regular average people like me and you? Yes. Do I think that people attach themselves to the idea and concept of the fact that a billionaire could potentially run America better than politicians? Yes. And I think that what people did was attach themselves to the dream that they could potentially have access to that amount of money, that they could potentially get into this environment where Trump was going to change the status quo of how we live, how we eat, how we breathe, how we operate as a country, and how the government operated specifically. I think that he led with that because that was the emotional appeal that he could attract so many different people. Even after he disrespected so many different nationalities, said so many different offensive things, has been in very compromising situations when it comes to women as well. Y'all still voted for him. And so now I'm starting to see all these videos that are, it's like a trend where it's like MAGA regret. And so there's all these people that are going through the reasons why they are regretting voting for Donald J. Trump and how they didn't understand that whatever decision making he was going to make, that it would impact things that are so closely related to what they need, what they depend on, what they do on a daily basis, maybe even their employment, their livelihood, the employment, livelihood, and dependency of their loved ones, whatever it is. I stand in solidarity with the 92% and say, we told you so. And the thing that I'll continue to say and scream to the mountaintops until I can't say it anymore is the hate of the Black woman is so strong that you will willingly sign up to jeopardize your livelihood, your normalcy, the livelihood and normalcy of so many other people, your ability to live comfortably. You would give all that up versus allowing a Black woman to be in charge. The funny thing about all of this is America knows it more than anything that Black women are the most powerful people on this planet. And the problem with that is if we allow the Black woman in the White House, we empower Black women across the world to stand flat-footed, take charge, and start running things everywhere. We'll start to see a movement. We'll start to see Black women rising up in all types of leadership positions. We'll start to see those timid Black women, they'll find their voice. They'll find their power. They'll find their strength. But they don't want that to happen. That's a movement that they want to prevent as much as possible. But 92%, I know we got something brewing. I know it's coming. Just wait and see, babe.
I never thought this day would come. Well, I'm going to regret what I did. I really regret voting for this guy. I'm working on this program for the sound power phones batteries. We're researching these batteries for these sound power phones, and they cut off our funding. It is really sad. You get to the office and they tell you, we're no longer going to fund your research. for these batteries for these sound power phones. And what makes me sad is that these batteries were going to make such an impact on the lives of our deployed troops, especially the sailors out there. These are for vital communications on board the ships. So I truly regret now my vote. And I hope more people speak up just like I did.
I never thought in a million years that I would actually regret voting for Donald Trump. Listen to this, you guys. My job has been frozen. Okay, I was one of the top researchers in my department. And, I never thought the day would come when an unelected person like Musk would start digging into where everyone's tax dollars are going. I thought my job was safe. Okay, now, because of Donald Trump and Elon Musk, how are we ever going to find out if cats really hate dogs and dogs really hate cats? I mean, we were making groundbreaking work, okay? And we were on the cusp of discovering that felines and canines really do, at their core, hate each other. And now it's gone. It's all gone. I cannot believe I voted for this.
You're a fucking coward, and I would have never done this to you. I would have never done this to you.
We voted for Trump because he promised while he was campaigning like a million times that when he got into office, he was going to bring down prices, bring down grocery prices. The inflation has been high ever since COVID, and he promised he would bring that down. But it's obvious to me now that that was not true. Egg prices have skyrocketed. The bird flu is killing all the birds, and he doesn't seem to be doing anything about that. He's stopping disease communications from the disease centers in America, pulled us out of the WHO. Like, how does that help anything? And yeah, all he's been doing is taking away rights and freedoms, or trying to. He's not doing anything about the economy. So yeah, we totally regret our vote at this point. We've had a really tough time here in North Carolina. Half of my house got washed away in Hurricane Helene, and I applied for FEMA assistance and we got approved. But now Trump is canceling FEMA and emergency assistance to people. He's also canceled
Thank you for watching Great Minds Blacks.